Part 4 of this lecture. If you watched the last previous part, YouTube chopped off the last 10 seconds of my talk. There was nothing significant there. I was just giving the intro into this section, but that's why it sort of ended abruptly, is YouTube puts a cap on how much I can upload in one session, and I've just gone slightly over it. This section, part 4, is on the use of images in annual reports and draws heavily on the research of Jane Davison. The link to her research is at the end of the lecture notes. Now, if we start at the slide with all these images of happy people here, I've taken all these images from the annual report of a large Australian company. And what I want you to look at is the expressions on people's faces, and from that, try and decide what this company's profit is like, whether it's higher than last year, about the same, lower, or a massive loss. Now, looking at who the people are in the photos, in the top left-hand corner is the chief executive. On the far right side, about the middle of the slide, is the chairman of the board, and down the bottom on the bottom right-hand corner is the board of directors. Now, as I said, what do you think the profit is? Now, I think most people are going to answer it was either higher than last year or about the same as last year based on these expressions. It appears to be good news. And this is what I think they are after in showing these images. If we go on to the next slide, where I've asked those questions, the answer is D. It's a massive loss. This is from Woolworth's 2015 annual report, and Woolworths showed a loss of about $2 billion, primarily due to the disaster which was Masters. But you wouldn't know it from looking at these smiling faces. And what Jane Davison has argued is that the images in financial reports can affect the way people interpret the information in them. So by showing these smiling faces, hopefully maybe they're trying to deflect the anger of shareholders about this massive loss, and possibly turn a story to say, well, it's not really that bad, or we'll fix it up next year, or something else like that, so that they're trying to take away the negative impression that the numbers are going to tell. We can also see this pattern in other forms of reporting. If you look at the sustainability report for BHP Billiton, the world's largest mining company, if you look at the images in that sustainability report, the current one for 2015, you wouldn't know that BHP Billiton is a mining company. There aren't pictures of mines. Now, the reason for that is that mines are really, really ugly, and it's hard to tell a story that you're a really environmentally friendly company if you're showing a massively scarred landscape from open pit mining. So they don't show those images. They show images that suggest sustainability. They use a lot of the colour green because of the association between that colour and the environment. So in lots of ways, firms use images within their reports to try and influence how readers will interpret their reports. And this is not something that the accounting standards boards address. There is nothing in the accounting standards about what images you can and can't use in your reports, or things like what fonts you have to use, or what background colours. Because if you really want to hide some bad information, if you put a font and a background colour set so that there's very little contrast, it makes it hard to read. If you make your font size fairly small, it's hard to read. If you load up lots of information onto one page so that you get a massive black ink staring at you, it's hard to read. So companies who want to hide information can play these games with images to hide what's in their reports. And the standard-setting boards don't address this at all. Now, the companies that do this, they're not doing it by accident. They're getting highly skilled, highly paid public relations experts to help them design these reports. they're not being created by accident. They are deliberate plans. If they were accident, they would be in things like 12-point Times Roman black ink on white paper. That's not what we see. So they're constructing this, and we don't talk about this in accounting standards, we don't talk about this in financial reporting, we don't talk about this in auditing. But these are important issues if we're truly going to understand the impact of financial reports on users. And so we are leaving out a massive amount about how we can potentially influence users, both for good and for bad, through the design of our financial reports. This is the end of the section, fairly brief. The next section is going to be longer, talking about how accounting appears in society and showing images of accounting in society to show that the immense power that accounting has over society. I may have to break the next section into two because of YouTube's 15-minute limit. We'll see how it goes. Okay. I'll bring this to a close now.